Hey y'all, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you do not know, and today I'm going to tell you about true crime while I sip my wine. Let's go. Alright y'all, so y'all gonna have to put on y'all little hiking boots or whatever if y'all down here in America with me or anywhere else in the world besides Canada, because that's where we going. We trekking our way up north. We're going to Canada right now. And today's case is about the Toronto van attack. Now, some of y'all might have heard of this, especially if y'all live in Canada. I'm pretty sure y'all heard about this because this is a pretty big case. It played on the news down here in America, and I can remember like when it first happened and them talking about it, but I don't remember great detail like about it. And when I tell you, when I started going into the case and started like diving deep, I was floored. I was shocked and appalled, y'all. Like, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that's enough rambling. Let me just go ahead and tell y'all about it. On April 23rd, 2018, 80-year-old retired librarian Beverly Smith decided that she would take a walk down to the local library that was close to her home because it was just a nice day outside and she just wanted to get out for some fresh air. And this is a walk that she had taken many times, so she didn't think anything of it. It was the break of spring. Everything is starting to bloom. It's nice outside. And if y'all live in a place where y'all have a winter like with snow and all that and it get real cold like negatives and stuff like that, y'all know that when spring breaks and it's warm outside and it's starting to get warm, everybody is trying to head on out. They're trying to get some fresh air. Like, they've been cooped up in the house because who's really trying to be out when it's cold? Nobody. And yeah, so that's what she was doing. She just wanted to step out, go to the library, and pretty much just enjoy her day. And 22-year-old best friends and college roommates So Ra and So Hee Chung also had the same idea. They wanted to go down to the library to study, and they decided that it wasn't a long walk for them. It was only 3 blocks away. They decided that they would go out and enjoy the fresh air as well and walk to the library, the same library that Beverly was headed to. So they all on their way to this library when all of a sudden they get hit by a van. It came completely out of left field, which, I mean, they're on the sidewalk, so of course it will come out of left field. So they're all struck by this van and they all fall to the ground, completely unaware of what happened. And they're literally just laying there stuck, don't know what just happened. Not only did they not realize what was happening to them in that moment, they didn't know that this attack had started minutes ago up the road before it had even gotten to them. So at approximately 1:20 p.m. at the intersection of Young Street and Finch Avenue, a rented white Ryder van was seen going through the intersection. So as it was going through the intersection south on Young Street, it got out of the road and it went onto the sidewalk, hitting pedestrians as it drove. Now, I'm not sure what people thought was happening, but when I first saw it on the news, I kind of thought that it was a case of a drunk driver, just a drunk dude working in the middle of the day. You know, sometimes you got day drunks and sometimes they get out of control. I thought that's what had happened, but it was actually an attack on the people. So as the sidewalk got more narrow, the driver decided that he could no longer drive on the sidewalk anymore. So he went back into the street driving erratically as hell. And he drove down a couple more blocks before he re-entered the sidewalk, hitting pedestrians again at Mel Lastman Square. From there, the driver drove another block and then he turned right on to Point Street. Now, by this time, the cops had already been called. So I told you that the attack started at approximately 1:20 between 1:20 and 1:24 p.m. The police were contacted at 1:25 p.m. So they were already aware that there was somebody driving on the not the highway. They were driving on the sidewalk, hitting people and just driving recklessly, out of their minds, out of control. So once the driver had turned right onto Points Avenue, there was cops already on their way. There was actually just one single cop. He was in his cop car. He had got the call. He saw the vehicle and it was all damaged and beat up. And he turned on his sirens to pursue the van. Now, the driver heard the sirens and he pulled over, stopping on the sidewalk, and he was ordered to get out of the car. So he opened the driver's side door, and in order to pretty much invoke suicide by cop, he pulled his wallet out and like held it at the police like it was a gun at the police officer. Now this is Constable Ken Lamb, and he's the only one on the scene right now. He's the only one who is interacting with this dangerous suspect, and he did an amazing job with not not killing the suspect, I guess. I just wish that the cops in America were as efficient with not using deadly force. I'm gonna just leave that at that. So, realizing that the suspect wasn't a threat, Constable Lamb turned off his sirens, he put his gun away, and he got out his baton and ordered the suspect to the ground, which the suspect complied immediately. He tossed his wallet and he got on the ground, and that is where he was taken into custody. Unfortunately, this attack would leave 10 people dead and 16 more injured. The deceased victims included Ji Hoon Kim, a Seneca College student from South Korea, Soo Hae Chung, who I told you about earlier, who was walking to the library with her best friend. She was a University of Toronto college student. She was 22 also. 30-year-old analyst Anne-Marie D'Amico. 33-year-old account executive Andrea Nafelk Braden. I am so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Please pardon me if I pronounce any of these names wrong. I'm so sorry. 45-year-old chef by the name of Chul Min Kang, known as Eddie by his friends and family. A nutritionist by the name of Butis Renuka Amarsinghe, 80-year-old retiree Dorothy Sewell, 83-year-old Geraldine Brady, who was an Avon sales lady, 85-year-old Munir Najjar, who was visiting his family from Jordan, and 94-year-old Mary Elizabeth Forsyth, known as Betty, who was also a retiree. Here is a list of the 16 people who were injured, and on that list are two of the people who I told you about at the beginning of the video, 80-year-old Beverly Smith and 22-year-old Sorah. Now, Betty Smith, she does not remember the attack at all. She says she doesn't have any recollection of the attack itself. However, she is reminded of the attack every single day she wakes up because she unfortunately lost both of her legs due to the attack. And in a sense, I kind of feel like it's good that she doesn't remember the attack, so to speak, like the actions of the attack or the attack happening to her, but to wake up every single day and be reminded of something that you have no memory of because you no longer have your legs is I can't I just feel so sad for her because again, you are in the later stages of life. You're doing well for yourself. She was retired. She was just living her life, just living out her golden years, and now she has to go to physical therapy. She has some memory loss. She has some not necessarily cognitive issues, but she was an avid reader. She was a librarian, but now reading books is a challenge for her. She has problems retaining like I guess context or what is that called? Concepts. She has trouble with the concepts of books now. Like that was her life and now it's an issue. Now Sorah, the one who was walking with her friend who unfortunately passed away, when she got to the hospital, it was determined that every single bone in her face was broken. She had to have reconstructive surgery. I think she said she has like 10 plates in her face that she's going to have for the rest of her life. However, they did an immaculate job with her surgeries because you cannot even tell that she was attacked. You can't tell that her face was literally broken. And she says she has one scar, but the rest of them were sutured on the inside. So they did an amazing job, but she still struggles daily because she lost her best friend. She said they were very, very close. So she's dealing, but obviously it's hard. It's hard for any of the people who were in the attack and their family members who either have to take care of them, have to deal with the loss, or just it's just a lot of residual effects because of a selfish individual. So now let's talk about the attacker. Who is this person? Who is this angry little man? The attack was carried out by a 25-year-old man named Alec Minassian. Now, if I say Minassian at any point, it's because that's what I kept calling him until I heard somebody say his name, and it was Alec Minassian. But you might hear me flip between Minassian and Minassian because, yeah. He was born on November 3rd, 1992 to immigrant parents. His dad was from Armenia and his mom was Iranian. And they had two children, him and his older brother, Haig. Haig, and they lived in a suburb of Toronto called Richmond Hill. So when he was a kid, his parents knew that something was different about their son. Like, he wasn't like all the other little boys and girls. He didn't play and mingle and make friends like everybody else. He was isolated. He kept to himself. It stated that when he was in elementary school, he would like throw tantrums, stay secluded, and he just wasn't very social. So by the time he got to secondary school, which that's what it said, so I'm just going to assume, because I'm not Canadian, that is middle school. And I don't know if they have like a tertiary school for like high school. I don't know. But anyway, it said that by the time he was in secondary school, he had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which, if y'all don't know, is a part of the autism spectrum. Due to this diagnosis, he would be put into special needs classes. But the thing about him in special needs classes is that he thrived, like, which any special needs child should thrive in a special needs class, because that's what they're there for. They have special needs, you meet them, and they thrive. But when I say that, I don't mean he thrived intellectually. He probably did, but what I mean is he was interacting more. He made friends. He was kind of like a goofball. He would make these funny voices, and the people in the classroom really liked him, and he liked interacting with those people as well. However, unfortunately, outside of the classroom, outside of that special needs classroom, he was bullied like bad. One of his classmates said that when the incident happened and his name was said, she didn't even realize that she had went to school with him, because they never called him by his name. While he was in school, they called him Chewbacca because he would growl at people, he would meow at people, he would like make these weird noises. And being a kid, or teenagers, they're mean, they're assholes, for real, for real. And they poked at him, like they taunted him. They would like put their finger all in his face, and in return he would like try to bite their finger, and they would like coerce him to go talk to girls, and the girls would just pretty much make fun of him and laugh at him. And it was just like he was really tormented in school. And this is the part where I kind of feel bad for him, because it's like he has special needs. So whether he's high on the autism spectrum or low on the autism spectrum, hell, anybody, it's like you kind of feel bad, because they didn't deserve to be bullied like that. He didn't deserve that. Everybody deserves to be treated like somebody, no matter what you think of them. Seriously. And if you think they're nothing, or which everybody is something, but if somebody feels like somebody is nothing, then just leave them alone. Don't acknowledge them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, if they say hi in the hallway, chuck up the deuces and keep it moving. But you ain't got to be best friends with these people. You don't have to interact with these people. Just leave them alone. But anyways, his parents try to be as supportive as possible, but there's only so much you can do when you at home or you at work and your child is in school. There's not really much you can do. But as far as his intellectual disability, as far as his Asperger's syndrome, they really try to put him on the best. They really tried to put him on the best path that they could. Like, they sent him to help centers. They sent him to places that would teach him how to socialize. They sent him to places that would teach him, like, that would train him for jobs and being in the workforce and stuff like that. I don't know if it worked, but they tried. So, like with many other teenagers, as he got older, he got into video gaming. And not only did he love to play the games, he developed a knack for like computers, like the inside, like the IT part of computers. And that made a lot of sense, because both of his parents were in IT. His dad worked as a software developer and his mom worked for a tech company. So it made sense that he had a knack for computers. It was just in his DNA. So when it was time for him to go off to college, he went to Seneca and he went for computer programming. While he was in college, he secured a job and he was a research assistant. He was hired as a research assistant at Seneca Center for Development of Open Technology. He was really pretty smart. He even developed an app for Android to help people find free parking. And I'm just like, do they got something like that for Apple? Because quite frankly, that's something that I could use. Continuing forward, he would continue to get jobs, but he would often lose them due to lack of social skills and just the incapability of being able to perform the job tasks and socialize with the people who he needed to socialize with in order to get the job done, pretty much. Eventually, he would just say, forget it all, and he ended up joining the Canadian Army at 24 years old. And he passed all the physical tests, but one of his, I don't know if it was his commander or what, but he said he should have never passed it because he just didn't have, not only did he not have the physical skills, but he didn't feel like he had like the mental capacity. Like he would show him how to do something multiple times, and no matter how many times he showed him how to do it, Alec just couldn't get it right. If y'all know anything about the military, y'all know that the military is very strict, it's very precise, it is very organized and neat, if you will. And Alec just couldn't get it together. I don't want to disrespect anybody's rank, so I do apologize if he's not the commander, but he would basically just say that he should have never been there for real. And quite frankly, Alec felt the same exact way because just after 16 days, he asked to be pieced the hell out because he was like, nope, this is not for me. I don't like this. He wanted to go home. So he requested a leave and it was granted. Upon his return from the military, he went back to school and he graduated. He finished, I think it was just one semester that he had to do left. And he finished that and he graduated college. I was about to say high school. He graduated college and he was happy to be done, I guess, done with the people, because he, on one of his social media platforms, he wrote, finally finished college, fuck you all, and good riddance. And it's like, okay. So what nobody had really known about Alec throughout this whole entire time is that there was a hatred of like a certain type of people growing inside of him. Like it was festering, it was manifesting, it was sitting there, it was harboring. He was harboring all of the feelings, and eventually he said he was going to take action. He was tired of this shit and he gonna do something about it. So at approximately 12:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2018, Alec Minassian went to go pick up his little rented rider van, and he drove the 25 to 30 minutes to Young Street and Fitch Avenue where he would start his attack. Now, why was he mad? Why the attack, right? So Alec said that on Halloween of 2013, he was 20 years old and he attended a house party and he was trying to socialize and mingle with the ladies, and it just wasn't going good for him. He said that they would laugh at him, make fun of him, and then go hang on to the guys with the big arms and big chests, with the muscles. And he hated that. He was pissed because he like, I'm over here being a gentleman and you want to go hang out with this douchebag, the one that's like smashing beer cans on his head and shit, and I'm over here trying to treat you like a lady. I'm pissed. So he said that particular incident was the catalyst to his frame of mind. He would go on to join a Reddit thread or group. I'm not really sure how Reddit works. I've never been on Reddit. So what it sounds like to me is that it's like a forum. Back when, we used to have B2K forums, you can go into the Raspberry room and the whole B2K room, and then that's what it sounds like to me, like a forum. If I'm wrong, let me know. But that's the vibes it's giving. But anyways, so he would end up going to Reddit, and there was a group of people who felt the same exact way as he did, and they were called incels. And if you don't know what an incel is, it is basically a short term for involuntary celibate, meaning they couldn't get no ass and they was mad at the world for it. Basically, not even necessarily mad at the world. They're pretty much upset at what they would call Chads and Stacies. Chads are like your jocks, your big guys, your muscular guys who have sex on a regular basis. And Stacies are the girls who go for the Chads, or clueless type girl, And yeah, they basically mad. They basically mad because they think that they can't have sex, or they think that they're incapable of getting some. And to that, I just want to say that I don't understand. Because one, there's always that one time at band camp. If you know, then you know. Like, join the band. And I'm not trying to shame the band geeks because, baby, I was one. Let's just be clear. Never went to band camp, though. Never made it to band camp. Did go to cheer camp, which is cheer camp. But this ain't about me. But in all seriousness, there is somebody for everybody. There's somebody in this world who will like you. There's somebody in this world who will be with you. But anyways, so he found this incel group and they're all talking about how they hate Chads and Stacy's and how they're all too ugly and how pretty much just a bunch of self-loathing and talking about how they hate people who have sex, really. And it's really misogynistic. Like, women are only here to serve you for sex, but they won't give it to them. It's like, it's really like a hole. Like, I went down a rabbit hole, y'all. On this Reddit site, he became friends with a young man by the name of Elliot Rodger. Now, y'all may be familiar with the name Elliot Rodger. If you're not, he is a young man who was also an incel, and he committed a mass killing. He killed 6 people in Isla Vista, California in 2014. And when he met Elliot, he said that he and Elliot shared a bunch of the same views and, well, I mean, like pretty much like everybody else on the Reddit site, but they connected for whatever reason, and they would talk all the time. And his last interaction was with Elliot was on May 20th of 2014, and Elliot said that he had a special mission to do, and you know, he had to carry something, he had to do something. And Alec was like, he kind of knew what he was going to do, but he didn't really know. So he kind of just wished him good luck and left it at that. And then on May 23rd, he, meaning Elliot, carried out his mass attack and also killing himself in the process. Most of us see that as like a heinous act and don't condone Elliot's actions. Alec was the exact opposite. He thought that he stood up for him. He thought that Elliot had stood up for himself, and he showed those Chads and Stacy's, and he was somebody to be looked up to. And it was in that moment that he decided, you know what, I'm not gonna sit on my butt no more. It's time for me to do something now. It took him 4 years to actually go through with it, but once he rented the Ryder van, he knew that that was it. There was no turning back, and that this is something that he would do. I watched his interrogation interview, and he basically said that he was proud of his attacks. And when he was describing things, I was just so baffled, because at one point he said that Elliot had transformed those people's life status or living status to death status. And like, I don't know. I don't know. It just threw me off, y'all. I don't know. But anyways, Alec will go on to be charged with 10 counts of murder and 16 counts of attempted murder. And they tried to use his Asperger's as a defense, but in his interrogation, you knew that he knew what he was doing. Like, it was clear that he knew what he was doing. It was clear that he understood that he was killing people. He understood that it was wrong. He planned it. He methodically thought about this. So even though they tried to use that as a defense, it didn't work. His trial was pushed back a couple times due to COVID and everything like that, but he was subsequently convicted of all charges. Okay, so I just had to pop in really quick because I made a mistake. His sentencing is being held until 2022, so we'll see what happens. So that is the story of Alec Minassian. But let's talk about this incel community really quickly, because I'm genuinely confused by it. They have a frustration because they can't have sex, or they think no one will have sex with them. And they develop this hatred towards guys who are having sex, but then they also have a hatred for the women who won't have sex with them. So essentially, they're hating everybody because they can't have sex or they think no one will give them some. I don't get it. But even so, I just want to make it clear that there is somebody for everybody. Everybody. It may not be today, tomorrow, next week, next year, but somebody is going to be there for you. Somebody's going to like you. There is legit somebody for everybody. Before I go though, really quick, I do want to say that I understand that not all incels are as extreme as an Elliot Rodger or an Alec Minassian. So I don't want to group them all in there and say that this group is this extreme, because if I did do that, then I would be a big contradiction to like myself and my race, because there are some people who think that all black people are one certain way. I genuinely can't stand when a person thinks that all black people are one way or all of any people is one way, because that's just not the case. And I don't want to put it out there and make it seem like all incels are as extreme as these two people that I spoke about. So I just want to make that very, very clear. But yeah, that is the end of this video. Please let me know what y'all think in the comments. Have y'all ever heard of an incel? What y'all think about this case? Did y'all know any of this about the case, or did y'all just know it at surface level like I did? Also, if you guys have any case suggestions that you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.